A strong man can love deeply. A strong man can give. A strong man can protect. A strong man can be kind, loyal, and present. But a strong man also knows where the line is. Because the moment you start giving away the wrong things, the relationship stops being healthy. It becomes control. It becomes pressure. It becomes emotional dependency. And sooner or later, you wake up and realize you are no longer living your life. You are living for her moods, her approval, her comfort, her demands. That is not love. That is surrender. So if you want peace, respect, and real confidence, there are some things you must keep protected. Before we begin, the Stoic Tribe team is currently working on the Stoic Relationship Blueprint for Men course that's coming very soon. A step-by-step system designed to help you master self-respect, emotional control, boundaries, discipline, and relationship clarity, so you stop living confused and start leading your life with strength and certainty. This course is built to transform the way you think, choose, respond, and carry yourself in relationships, breaking these principles down so clearly and practically that any man can grasp them, apply them daily, and make them part of who he is for life. If you want early access to something that can permanently change your standards, your peace, and the way you show up as a man, comment the blueprint right now. Let's get into it. Number 1. Your purpose. Never give a woman your purpose. This is where a huge number of men quietly ruin their own lives while calling it love, loyalty, patience, or sacrifice, because she enters his life and little by little he starts rearranging everything that once made him strong. He changes his schedule, he neglects his body, he stops building his craft, he becomes less disciplined, less driven, less clear, and he tells himself it is temporary. He tells himself he is just being supportive. He tells himself that once things settle down, he will get back to his mission. But that day rarely comes, because when a man puts her at the center, she does not just take a place in his life. She takes the driver's seat, and now his day rises and falls based on her attention, her mood, her approval, her closeness, her distance, her texts, her silence, her affection, her coldness, and he becomes someone he does not even recognize, because a man without purpose is easy to pull apart, easy to distract, easy to confuse, easy to keep in an emotional loop. And many men know exactly what this looks like. They wake up tired not because they work too hard, but because their mind is chained to her. They go to bed thinking about what changed, why she pulled back, what they need to do next, how to get back into her good books. And the frightening part is that while he is slowly shrinking, he thinks he is proving devotion. While he is becoming less of himself, he thinks he is showing depth. While he is handing over his direction, he thinks he is building connection. But real connection never asks a man to abandon the path that gives his life meaning. And if she wants that from you, if she wants you less focused, less ambitious, less disciplined, less available to your own future, then understand clearly what is happening. She may enjoy the attention, she may enjoy the control, she may enjoy seeing that she can move you off your center, but she does not improve your life by becoming the reason you stop respecting your own calling. And this is why so many men sit in quiet frustration, because they know they used to be sharper than this. They used to have a fire. They used to wake up with intent. They used to train with hunger, build with conviction, plan with clarity. But now they live reactively. Now they are waiting, negotiating, adjusting, chasing balance in a life that is no longer led by principle, but by emotional dependency. And the solution is as hard as it is liberating. Put your mission back where it belongs, above distraction, above temporary pleasure, above her moods, above your fear of losing her. Because the man who lives by purpose is not cold. He is stable. He is not distant. He is grounded. He is not unloving. He is ordered. And order gives a man strength. It gives him calm under pressure. It gives him discipline when desire tries to pull him off course. It gives him the ability to say, "I care about you, but I will not betray my future for attention." And that changes everything, because once you return to your purpose, you stop begging life to go your way, and you start shaping it with your own hands. You stop asking whether she still sees your value, and you start building a life where your value is visible in your habits, your standards, your work, your body, your schedule, your focus, your peace. And that is where Stoic strength becomes real, not as an idea, not as a quote, not as something you post online, but as daily practice. You rise when you say you will rise. You train when you do not feel like training. You work when your mind wants to drift. You stay silent when panic wants a reaction. You return to what is in your control and stop bleeding energy into what is not. And that discipline does something powerful inside a man. It removes noise, it removes illusion, it removes desperation, and it gives him his spine back. Because the truth many men avoid is that they do not suffer only because of what she does. They suffer because they abandon themselves in response to what she does. They hand her an authority she never should have had. They let her define their worth, and then they wonder why they feel weak, why they feel anxious, why they feel hollow. But once a man sees this clearly, he can change it. And that is where his whole life begins to shift in his favor, because pain becomes instruction, disappointment becomes clarity, and the very thing that once broke his focus becomes the reason he rebuilds with more force than before. Now he no longer wastes years being emotionally led by someone who benefits from his confusion. Now he studies his patterns. Now he becomes honest about where he has been soft, needy, passive, and distracted. Now he stops pretending that being chosen by her is the goal, because being chosen means nothing if. You have to become small to keep her, and this insight hits men deeply because many of them already know the cost of losing purpose. They have lived it. They have watched themselves become less alive, less proud, less dangerous in the best sense, less in command of their time. And they know the shame of looking back and realizing they paused their growth for someone who did not even honor the sacrifice. So let this be the turning point, not where you become bitter, but where you become exact, where you become deliberate, where you become a man whose life has direction that no outside chaos can easily derail. Because when your purpose is intact, you stop clinging, you stop over-explaining, you stop making emotional decisions that rob you of years, and you start moving with quiet conviction. And that is when life opens up. Your mind clears, your confidence stops depending on her, your work improves, your standards rise, your health returns, your presence changes, and suddenly the same situation that once had you restless, confused, and chasing now becomes the fire that tempers you into someone stronger, cleaner, calmer, and more dangerous to every force that once tried to weaken you. Because now you understand that your purpose is not just a goal, it is your anchor, your discipline, your dignity, your direction. And once you stop giving that away, you stop living like a man waiting to be approved and start living like a man who knows exactly who he is and exactly where he is going. And if you are ready to become that man faster, the Stoic Relationship Blueprint ebook for men is linked in the comments, filled with timeless Stoic principles that help you reclaim your focus, strengthen your mind, and rebuild your life from the inside out. It is now also available in audiobook format, so you can listen to this life-changing wisdom while taking a walk, jogging, driving, or sitting alone with your thoughts, and letting every lesson sink deeper into your spirit. If you have been asking yourself why you keep losing control in relationships, why you abandon your standards, why your peace disappears so easily, and how to finally become solid within yourself, this book gives you those answers with clarity and direction. This is not something you read once and forget, because once you get it, it is yours for life, which means you will always have access to this knowledge whenever you need to reset, refocus, and rise again. So if you know deep down that it is time to stop drifting and start becoming the man you were meant to be, get the Stoic relationship blueprint today and let it become the guide you return to again and again. Number 2, your self-respect. Never give a woman your self-respect. This is the line that too many men cross slowly, quietly, and repeatedly until they wake up one day and realize the deepest damage was never just what she said or what she did. It was what they allowed, what they tolerated, what they explained away, what they swallowed just to keep her around. Because self-respect rarely disappears in one dramatic moment. It erodes through 100 smaller moments when she speaks to you with contempt and you laugh it off. When she pulls away to test how much nonsense you will accept and you stay available. When she gives mixed signals and you call it complexity. When she keeps you in confusion and you call it patience. When she uses distance as leverage and you call it needing space. When she shows you plainly that she does not honor your loyalty and you still try to prove your value. And this is where men need brutal honesty, because a lot of suffering continues not because the truth is hidden, but because they refuse to face what the truth demands. And what it demands is courage. The courage to stop calling disrespect love. The courage to stop calling humiliation a rough patch. The courage to stop saying she is just going through something when what is happening is that she has learned you will stay no matter how poorly she behaves. And once she learns that, once she sees that your boundaries bend, your standards lower, and your words have no weight, the dynamic changes completely, because people do not rise to the level of your silent hope. They usually settle at the level of what you allow, and many men know this pain to the bone. They know what it is like to sit alone replaying a conversation where she spoke to them in a way they would never accept from anyone else. They know what it is like to justify being ignored, dismissed, mocked, compared, lied to, used for attention, or treated like an option, because they are terrified that standing up for themselves will cost them the relationship. But what they fail to see is that once self-respect is gone, the relationship is already rotten at the core, because now he is no longer loved as a whole man. He is managed as a convenient source of validation, effort, patience, money, time, emotional labor, and access. And that is why the solution is not to become louder, harsher, or more dramatic. The solution is to become firmer, calmer, and far more honest with yourself, because self-respect is not noise, it is not posturing, it is not empty pride. It is the quiet decision that you will not stay where your dignity is taxed every day. It is the discipline to walk away from what your emotions still crave when your principles know better. It is the refusal to keep negotiating with treatment that insults your worth. And this is where Stoic practice becomes life-changing for men, because instead of exploding, begging, or spiraling, you pause, you observe, you name reality accurately. You separate what she does from what you choose. You stop trying to control her behavior and start controlling your standards, your speech, your presence, your actions, and your exit when necessary. And that control is powerful because it turns a man from someone who reacts impulsively into someone who responds from principle, and principle gives him his power back. Now he does not need to shout that he deserves better. He simply behaves like a man who knows it. Now he does not need to convince her to value him. He pays attention to whether she does. Now he does not argue with obvious disrespect for hours. He reduces access, changes his posture, and if the pattern continues, he leaves. And that level of self-command is deeply transformative because it forces a man to confront his own hidden hunger for approval. It forces him to ask why he kept accepting less than he knew he wanted, why he kept staying where he was diminished, why he confused endurance with strength, and the answers are painful but freeing. Maybe he fears being alone. Maybe he thinks his worth increases when he is chosen. Maybe he learned to overgive and overfunction just to secure affection. Maybe he secretly believes he must earn basic regard. And once he sees that, truly sees it, he can stop repeating it. And that is where the message becomes inspirational in the truest sense, because the same pain that once kept him trapped now becomes the doorway to a different life, a life where he no longer offers loyalty, where there is no honesty, no longer offers patience, where there is repeated contempt, no longer offers softness to someone who treats his heart like a convenience. And this does not make him cynical. It makes him precise. It makes him mature. It makes him impossible to drag through the same old cycle again, because now he understands that. Protecting self-respect is not about punishing her. It is about refusing to participate in your own erosion. And men need to hear that clearly, because too many of them are exhausted not only by her behavior, but by the private shame of knowing they keep betraying themselves to keep someone who gives them less than peace, less than honesty, less than stability, and that private shame eats at confidence in ways few people talk about. It follows a man into his work, into his sleep, into his posture, into his health, into the way he sees himself when nobody is around. So the solution must go deeper than surface advice. It must reach character. And character is built when a man chooses truth over comfort, standards over fear, and dignity over temporary closeness. And yes, that choice can be painful. Yes, it can cost him the person he is attached to. Yes, it can force him to face emptiness for a while. But that emptiness is still cleaner than living in daily self-betrayal, because from that emptiness, he can rebuild something real. He can rebuild trust in himself. He can rebuild discipline. He can rebuild calm. He can rebuild a life where he no longer needs to shrink in order to keep company. And once that rebuilding begins, his whole world starts changing. He speaks differently, chooses differently, notices red flags earlier, stops making excuses for patterns that used to hook him, stops mistaking intensity for depth, stops confusing emotional chaos with passion, and begins to understand that being a solid man is not about how much he can endure from the wrong person, but about how faithfully he can stand by what is right, even when desire pulls the other way. And that lesson gives enormous value to the viewer because it speaks directly to the place many men rarely show. The part of them that is tired, disappointed, angry with themselves, and hungry to become someone stronger, someone they can actually respect again. And that transformation starts the moment they say, "No more." Not as a slogan, not as a performance, but as a lived standard. Because once a man stops handing out his self-respect in exchange for crumbs, everything begins to realign. His attention becomes more valuable. His words carry more weight. His time is no longer cheap. His emotions are no longer easily manipulated. And the very situations that once reduced him now become the reason he develops depth, gravity, and a kind of peace that cannot be purchased by approval. Because he finally understands that whatever she offers is never worth the price of losing himself. And once that truth enters a man fully, he does not merely survive the situation, he turns it into the foundation of a far better life. Number 3, your boundaries. Never give a woman unlimited access to your boundaries. This is where many men lose their peace without even noticing it at first, because what starts as being easygoing slowly turns into being available at all times, always adjusting, always understanding, always making room, always swallowing discomfort, so she stays comfortable. And the dangerous part is that he tells himself he is being mature, when in reality he is teaching her that his limits can be pushed without consequence, that his time can be taken for granted, that his attention is always on standby, that his standards are flexible, that his need for order, clarity, honesty, and consistency comes second to whatever mood or impulse she has in the moment. And once that pattern is established, She does not even need to ask anymore, because she already knows he will bend. She already knows he will explain away what bothers him. She already knows that if she changes plans last minute, disappears and returns casually, speaks carelessly, demands instant access, or brings confusion into his life, he will still be there trying to keep the connection alive. And that is where resentment grows in a man's chest, because deep down, he knows he is saying yes when he wants to say no. He knows he is tolerating things he would advise another man to walk away from. He knows he is not being honorable to himself, and that silent betrayal of self is what drains him more than any argument ever could, because a man does not become exhausted only from what people ask of him. He becomes exhausted from the gap between what he truly accepts and what he keeps allowing. And this is why boundaries matter so much, not as a game, not as a tactic, not as a cold posture, but as a structure that protects sanity, self-respect, and direction. Because without structure, life becomes reactive, and reactive men are easy to manipulate, easy to guilt, easy to pressure, easy to control through emotions. And many men know exactly how this looks in real life. They stop taking care of their own priorities because she needs something again. They cancel plans because she suddenly wants attention. They stop speaking honestly because every honest conversation turns into pressure. They hand over more and more access because they are afraid that one firm no will cost them the relationship. But a connection that survives only when you have no boundaries is not healthy. It is conditional on your self-erasure, and that comes at too high a price. So the solution is not anger, not harshness, not passive aggression, but calm clarity, because clarity is power. Clarity says, I am not available for disrespect. Clarity says, I do not reward inconsistency. Clarity says, you do not get access to me while bringing confusion into my life. And when a man learns to speak and live with that kind of steadiness, something profound changes inside him, because now he no longer negotiates against his own peace. Now he no longer performs endless understanding for someone who keeps pushing limits. Now he stops seeing boundaries as a risk and starts seeing them as a responsibility. And that is where Stoic discipline becomes practical, because instead of chasing comfort, he chooses what is right. Instead of reacting emotionally when a line is crossed, he notices it, names it, and acts with composure. He does not need to create drama to prove a point. He simply becomes less available to what pollutes his peace. And if she respects him, she adjusts. And if she does not, her reaction tells him everything he needs to know, because the wrong person gets offended by the very limits that protect your dignity, while the right person may challenge you at times, but still honors the fact that you are a man with standards. And this is where the viewer needs to look inward, because many men say they want respect while living in ways that invite disregard. They say they want peace while rewarding chaos. They say they want honesty while staying in situations built on mixed signals, and that contradiction keeps them trapped until they decide to become serious about what enters their life, how people speak to them, how much access they allow, and what patterns they no longer excuse. And once that seriousness develops, life improves fast. Their mind becomes lighter, their schedule becomes cleaner, their confidence stops leaking through endless compromise, and they begin to understand that boundaries are not there to keep love out. They are there to keep disorder from taking over, because a man who protects his boundaries is not cruel, he is responsible, he is not rigid, he is rooted. And the more rooted he becomes, the less he is shaken by pressure, guilt, charm, or temporary loneliness. And that is a powerful transformation, because now the exact situations that used to weaken him become opportunities to practice discipline, to practice restraint, to practice clear speech, to practice walking away from what costs too much. And that is how he turns pain into strength, confusion into standards, and disappointment into a life that finally has shape. Because once he stops giving away his boundaries, He stops giving away pieces of his soul to people who have not earned them. Number 4. Your freedom. Never give a woman your freedom. This strikes deeply because many men do not even realize how much of themselves they have surrendered until one day they look around and notice that their life no longer belongs to them. Their choices are filtered through her reactions. Their routines are shaped by what keeps her calm. Their friendships have faded. Their hobbies have disappeared. Their quiet time has been swallowed, and every move now seems to require explanation, permission, or careful emotional management. And this does not usually happen in one obvious step. It happens slowly, through repeated concessions, through small compromises that seem harmless in the beginning, through the habit of saying, "It is easier if I just let this go," until what used to be a strong, independent life becomes a narrow space where he is constantly adjusting himself to avoid tension. And the tragedy is that he may call this love. He may call this commitment. He may even call this maturity. But living as though you need approval to breathe is not maturity. It is quiet captivity, and it robs a man of the very energy that makes him grounded, creative, ambitious, and alive. Because freedom is not about irresponsibility. It is not about avoiding commitment. It is not about keeping one foot out the door. It is about preserving the right to remain fully human within a relationship. The right to think clearly, choose deliberately, spend time alone, build your own path, maintain healthy friendships, develop your body and mind, and exist as more than someone managing another person's emotions. And many men need to hear that plainly because they have spent years shrinking their world so that she never has to confront her insecurity. And every time they do that, they pay a hidden price. They become less spontaneous, less driven, less connected to themselves, less proud of how they live. Because any relationship that demands the death of a man's independence is not building him, it is consuming him. And yes, compromise matters, loyalty matters, communication matters, but compromise is mutual and principled. It is not one-sided surrender dressed up as devotion, and this is where Stoic wisdom becomes essential, because a disciplined man learns to separate what he owes from what he must never trade away. He learns that he can love someone deeply without handing them control of his identity. He learns that peace does not come from avoiding every conflict, but from standing upright inside necessary conflict. He learns that guilt is not always a sign he is wrong. Sometimes it is simply the discomfort of finally choosing himself after too much self-abandonment. And that lesson changes everything, because once a man stops being ruled by guilt, he starts reclaiming territory in his own life. He starts returning to old strengths. He starts rebuilding his schedule around what matters. He starts saying yes with intention and no without apology, and the effect is immediate. His mind clears, his energy rises, his resentment fades, and his posture changes because he no longer moves like someone who is asking to exist. And that is deeply relatable to men who have spent too long being managed by another person's expectations, because they know how heavy it is to live in constant anticipation of her response. They know how tiring it is to second-guess every harmless decision. They know what it is like to slowly disappear while trying to keep the peace. And the solution is not to become careless or selfish. The solution is to become ordered, direct, and internally free, because true strength is not found in being needed every second. It is found in being stable enough to remain yourself, even when someone wants more access than they deserve. And once that inner freedom is restored, a man becomes harder to control by fear, by guilt, by pressure, by the threat of losing someone who only valued him when he was easy to manage. And that is when his life turns in his favor, because now he is no longer choosing out of panic, he is choosing out of principle. Now he is no longer living to avoid discomfort. He is living to build something worthy, and that shift is transformational, because the man who keeps his freedom does not just protect his schedule, he protects his identity. And without identity, there is no confidence, no direction, no durable peace. So let this hit the viewer where it needs to hit. If your life is getting smaller, if your world is shrinking, if your choices are being shaped by fear of how she might react, then something is wrong. And the answer is not more compliance. It is more truth, more courage, more self-command. Because once you stop giving away your freedom, you stop living like a guest in your own life and start becoming the one who leads it. Number 5. Your inner peace. Never give a woman your inner peace. This is the deepest one, because once peace leaves a man, everything else in his life begins to crack, his focus weakens, his sleep suffers, his patience shortens, his work loses sharpness, his body carries tension, his thoughts become noisy, and even when she is nowhere near him, her behavior still sits in his chest and follows him through the day. And too many men live exactly like this. One warm message lifts them up, one cold reply drags them down, one delayed response ruins their concentration, one careless comment sits in their head for hours, and they call it love, when in truth they have allowed another person to take control of their internal state. And that is a devastating way to live, because a man who cannot govern himself becomes vulnerable to every external change, every mood shift, every mixed signal, every sudden withdrawal, every act of inconsistency. And this is why peace must be treated as sacred, not as something to gamble with because someone is attractive, charming, or hard to let go of. Because if being involved with her keeps producing anxiety, confusion, mental exhaustion, and a constant sense of instability, then the cost is already too high, and many men know this reality intimately. They know what it is like to stare at a phone, to replay conversations in the dark, to drag themselves through the day with a mind full of tension, to wonder why someone who says she cares keeps bringing such heavy disorder into their life. And the hard truth is that some people enjoy the access they have to your emotions more than they value your well-being. They like knowing they can shift your mood, pull your attention, interrupt your peace, and keep you psychologically engaged without offering the steadiness that a healthy connection requires. And if a man does not see that clearly, he can waste years trying to interpret behavior that should simply disqualify itself. Which is why Stoic practice matters here more than ever, because Stoicism at its core is lived through command of attention, command of perception, command of response. It is the daily discipline of refusing to let outside chaos become inside collapse. It is the ability to pause before reacting, to question the stories your mind is telling, to return to what is actually in your control, to stop feeding what poisons you, to stop chasing explanations from people whose actions have already given the answer. And that takes strength, real strength, because many men would rather remain in familiar pain than face the empty space that comes with letting go. But that empty space is where healing begins. That empty space is where the nervous system settles, where the mind starts breathing again, where a man remembers what it is like to live without emotional whiplash. And once he gets a taste of that calm, he begins to understand how much of his life he had handed away. He begins to understand that peace is not passive. It is built, guarded, and maintained through standards, habits, discipline, and the courage to leave what keeps unsettling the soul. And that understanding transforms him, because now he is no longer impressed by intensity, no longer seduced by instability, no longer willing to call confusion chemistry. Now he values consistency, honesty, calm, clarity, and that shift affects every area of his life, not just relationships, because the man who protects his peace thinks better, decides better, works better, sleeps better, leads better, and carries himself with a gravity that other people notice immediately. And this is where the message becomes deeply personal for the viewer, because he knows whether he has been living in peace or in constant emotional disturbance. He knows whether this connection is sharpening him or draining him. He knows whether he is growing or simply surviving one more cycle of uncertainty, and if he is honest, truly honest, he will know what he has to do. He will know where he has been betraying his own well-being just to hold on to someone who keeps bringing noise. And that awareness can become the turning point of his life. Because once a man chooses peace over emotional chaos, he does not become numb. He becomes clear. He does not become cold. He becomes composed. He does not become detached from life. He becomes deeply aligned with what matters. And that alignment is powerful because it returns him to himself. It gives him his mornings back, his concentration back, his discipline back, his laughter back, his hunger for life back, and at that point, the whole situation changes. Meaning, because what once seemed like unbearable loss becomes the very reason he builds a better life, a calmer mind, a stronger character, and a higher standard for who gets access to him. And that is the real win, not proving something to her, not waiting for her to understand, not hoping she changes, but becoming the kind of man who never again trades his inner peace for temporary closeness. Because once he learns that lesson fully, he becomes steady in a way that changes everything. Most people will never tell you the truth that changes a man's life, because a man with discipline, standards, self-respect, and emotional control is far harder to mislead, manipulate, or keep stuck in cycles that drain his peace. If you are ready to stop betraying yourself in relationships and start living by principles that make you stronger immediately, the Stoic Relationship Blueprint ebook for men is linked in the comments, filled with timeless Stoic wisdom that can reshape the way you think, act, and lead your life. It is now also available in audiobook version, so you can listen while walking, jogging, driving, or training, and carry this life-changing knowledge with you wherever you go. If you are ready to take that step, comment, "I choose discipline," like this video, and subscribe so more men can find these truths before they lose years of their lives learning them the hard way. Get the book today, make it yours for life, and let this be the moment you finally stop drifting and start becoming the man you know you can be.